What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Spin Cycle Live. I'm your host, Nathan Hale. Today is January 8th, 2025. I'm still not used to saying 2025 like that, but it is 2025. We have so many amazing stories to cover today. So much news to get into. Hope you all are having such a good Wednesday. We are live on so many different platforms today. We got YouTube, we got Instagram, we got Rumble, we got Twitter. We have all the different platforms covered. So wherever you are watching, thank you all for joining me today on this lovely Wednesday afternoon here in Kansas City, Missouri. We are still snowed in my apartment. I have not left since New Year's Eve. My car is currently covered in a sheet of ice, and I have a chapped lip because it's been so dry outside because of the torrential downpour of snow the Midwest has gotten these past couple of days. But I hope you all are good where you are. I hope you're not in California with all the wildfires and everything. That's kind of insane. I'd rather deal with snow than fires, I have to say that. But I would love to be in Florida or anywhere in the South right now, to be honest with you, with those 40-degree evenings or mornings you've been having down there. But I digress. Let's get into our first story of the day. If you pull out your 2024 bingo cards real quick, take a look at those and let me know what is on those bingo cards. Was Senator John Fetterman being based on your bingo card? Because that's exactly what we're covering right now. So Senator Fetterman signals he's voting for Trump's nominees, saying that's the way democracy works. And John Fetterman, who ran as a very left-wing senator in Pennsylvania, is kind of coming out and having saying some kind of controversial things for Democrat right now, right? Because, you know, I saw this guy on the campaign trail and I was like, there's no way. There's no way he's never going to be that senator, right? He's always going to be far left. Look at this guy. He wears a hoodie to the Senate, right? He's totally, I just couldn't believe when I started hearing stuff like this from him that he's kind of breaking from the Democratic trends, right? That, oh, we all have to follow the leader here. We all have to be, we all have to carry the bucket for the Democrat Party. We all have to be, the most woke of our mind, right? He's kind of a little bit more center left here now that we're talking about it. And I think it's interesting that we have senators who are kind of moving a little bit more center. I give him a lot of props for that. Still think he's nuts. Still think he's crazy. You wouldn't catch me wearing a hoodie and sweatpants and shorts to the Senate chambers. I mean, come on. I still think the people of Pennsylvania, if you voted for this guy, are nuts. But I digress. So Senator John Fetterman from Pennsylvania said during an interview this week that he will be voting for President-elect Donald Trump's nominees. That's how democracy works. So he was talking with Brett Baer, I believe, and they got on the subject of Tulsi Gabbard and some of the other nominees. And he said that most of the Trump nominees he's already met. The few that he hasn't, he plans on having meetings with in the coming days. So he said, quote, and that's also part of this. I don't know why that was controversial, he said. I mean, I got a lot of blowback just, even to meet with them. And to me, I see that as just doing my job. I'm going to have a conversation with anyone that would like to have a conversation with me. I think this is how politics should work. I mean, you can be on different sides of the political spectrum and still, have thoughtful discussions and conversations with people the other side, right? I mean, this is what we do all the time with Turning Point USA is we have conversations with people who might disagree with us, and we do it in a respectful and confident and calm way. But this is great. So he goes on to saying, so he said that he plans to vote to confirm Duffy, Senator Marco Rubio for Secretary of State, Elise Stefanik from New York for UN Ambassador, and Brooke Rollins for Secretary of Agriculture. And he said, I would also like to remind everyone on the Democrat side, that's the way democracy works. This is great. I think it speaks to the fact that Democrats absolutely go and eat their own any opportunities they can get. And this is just an example of that, right? John Fetterman is not your typical establishment Democrat that he led us all to believe during the elections in 2022. But here he still stands, right? I think this is great. I would like to see more senators behaving this way. And I'm honestly interested to see who votes no on a lot of Trump's nominees and what their reasonings are. Because if they don't have some airtight rationale for, not voting for a Trump nominee, I want to know what that is, right? And I believe he kind of brought that up in this article. I'd said something along the lines of that he was going to give everyone a fair shake, and Trump is running the table now. He's in charge, so he gets to have the guys that he wants, just like when Biden was in charge, he gets to have the guys that Biden wants. That's how our government works. So good on you, John Fetterman, I guess. Thumbs up. But let's go. Speaking of Trump, Trump's in the news a lot. So Trump has been floating these rumors around about absorbing Canada and absorbing Greenland and commandeering the Panama Canal and renaming the Gulf of Mexico. And, I don't know how many of those are super accurate, but I saw this article and wanted to talk about it. So the article is entitled, Trump Blasted for Obsession Over Greenland by Democrats as he returns to Capitol Hill. So the president-elect's visit comes as he is lambasted by congressional Democrats and the leaders of allied nations over his fantasies regarding U.S. territorial expansion. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer suggested he might instead want to focus on lowering the cost of living, which he was elected to do. Can't totally agree with Chuck Schumer there, right? Can't totally disagree with him. So in an alarming speech at Mar-a-Lago on Tuesday, Trump doubled down on his wish to make Canada a state, occupy Greenland, and seize the Panama Canal, not ruling out the use of military in the latter two instances. He also said he would rename the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. What are the chances of any of this happening? Canada, 0%. 0%. No way. I mark my words, 4 years from now, Canada will still be its own sovereign country. There is no way the United States is going to just absorb Canada, and we're not going to conquer them by force, right? Nor do I think a lot of Americans want Canadians to be Americans. I don't think a whole lot of Canadians really want to be Americans either, to be honest with you all. I don't want the woke mind virus that is Canada, who elected people like Justin Trudeau, to be part of my country, right? They can be their own thing. They're a garbage fire right now. Let them go be a garbage fire. Don't be bringing the smoke down to the United States, right? Gulf of America from Gulf of Mexico, I think, is probably the thing that has the largest likelihood of happening. I really don't think it will, but if I had to pick out of the three, what I think would actually happen, I think that one. The whole thing with Greenland, I think, is kind of interesting. The U.S. has a lot of reasons to be involved in Greenland. It's kind of in a very strategic position around Europe and Russia and all those places, right? Unless you're a flat earther, in which case it's really far away from them, but Earth's not flat. And it has a lot of resources. There's a lot of oil resources. There's lots of different things that the U.S. has a vested interest in getting for our economic benefit, right? So I see something more along the lines of a a really strategic trade agreement with them or a partnership kind of amongst them. But I don't see Greenland becoming a U.S. territory. The Panama Canal, I could actually see the Panama Canal becoming U.S. controlled, simply because of its implications to the rest of the world if that ever got shut down for any reasons. I could see that one. So I'll change my ranking. Panama Canal, number one, most likely of happening. Then Gulf of America, Greenland, and then Canada at the very bottom. I still don't think that the last three have really a shot of happening, but I think Panama Canal could, but we'll see. We'll be sure to keep you updated here on the show. But speaking of Greenland, Germany and France spoke up and are warning Trump over the threat to take over Greenland. And you all are going to giggle when you hear their rationale for Trump not taking over Greenland, right? So just wait for this. So Germany and France have warned Donald Trump against threatening Greenland after the U.S. president-elect refused to rule out using military force to seize Denmark's autonomous territory. So German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, by the way, Olaf Scholz, who just lost a vote of confidence in Germany, right? He's not going to be the German chancellor much longer, said, quote, "The principle of the invulnerability of borders applies to every country, no matter whether it's a very small or very powerful one." So you have these Europeans speaking up about having strong borders for other countries, but you don't hear them talking when they want strong borders to the United States, right? And I laugh when I hear that, right? You know, where were these guys all during the invasion of the United States? Where were these prime ministers and chancellors all when the hundreds of thousands, the millions of migrants have been crossing our southern border, breaking our laws and coming into our country? Where were these world leaders when we have people like Laken Riley killed by illegal immigrants coming over our border, breaking our laws and killing our people? Where are these people now? Where are these world leaders now, even as the UK is overrun with people from other countries? They can't handle it. Their housing market's crashing, right? Where are these leaders? But all of a sudden, when Donald Trump says that he wants to take over Greenland, oh, now all of a sudden the border is an issue. Now all of a sudden we cannot violate another country's border. Now it's a problem, right? Ridiculous. So Denmark, a longtime U.S. ally, has made clear that Greenland is not for sale and that it belongs to its inhabitants. See, so at least Denmark, who controls Greenland, is not wanting to give it up, right? So Greenland's Prime Minister, Mute Egdi, is that how you say his name? His first name's Mute? Like he's a mute? Is pushing for independence from Denmark, but he too has made clear the territory is not for sale. So they just want to be their own country. They don't want to be their own place. They just want to chill out, right? So it's difficult to imagine how the EU might prevent a potential attack. It has no defensive capability of its own. Most of its 27 member states are part of NATO. So here's a little map in case you're wondering where Greenland even is. Greenland is the big one. Greenland's this big island right here. This is Iceland right next to it. Nobody wants Iceland, right? Iceland's just chilling all by itself. They're their own thing, I believe. But Denmark controls this huge territory of Greenland. I think it's funny. Like I said, the reason why I pulled this article to kind of cover this was simply because the whole line of, borders being violated from these other world leaders when they don't, one, seem to mind it happening to their countries, or two, don't seem to mind it happening to the United States. They're not speaking up. But like I said, interesting stuff. I still don't think the United States is going to take over Greenland. Like I said, I think it will be more of a maybe a trade agreement, a really comprehensive trade agreement, or some sort of partnership between the countries. The closest thing I could see is Greenland potentially becoming like a U.S. territory, kind of like Puerto Rico. But even then, I wouldn't bet money on it. So there's that. All right. So some news from Mark Zuckerberg. Haven't heard from him in a while. He's looking rather mousy. He's been spending a little bit too much time in the metaverse, I think. But Meta, which is the new name for the whole Facebook social media arm. So Meta, to end fact-checking, replacing it with community-driven system akin to Elon Musk's X. So listen to this, guys. So Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg on Tuesday said the social media company is ending its fact-checking program and replacing it with a community-driven system similar to that of Elon Musk. So Zuckerberg cited the outcome of the 2024 U.S. presidential election as underlying the decision, calling it a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. Zuckerberg made that announcement in a video, quote, "We're going to get rid of fact checkers and replace them with community notes similar to X starting in the US." So let me read that first line to you again. He cited the 2024 US presidential election as the underlying decision for this. So what does that tell you, right? Well, it tells me that had Trump not won and Coconut Lady was in power, censorship and fact-checking would have only increased, right? Mark Zuckerberg isn't a stupid guy. He knows the direction the country's going, and that was paramount when we re-elected Donald Trump, right? Had we put in place someone like Kamala Harris, who is pro-censorship, who is pro-fact-checkers, who is vehemently against freedom of speech, right? I don't think we would have seen this. But now we have someone like Donald Trump back. We have places like X changing away the way that they're fact-checking people. So all of this to say, Mark Zuckerberg said the system put in place to moderate its platforms made too many mistakes, which we absolutely know. I mean, it's hard when you have fact checkers who are checking everyone, right, to put out accurate information. That sounds so good in people's heads. That sounds so sugary sweet. It makes you feel all warm and gooey inside that there are fact checkers out there keeping an eye on what people are posting, right, and saying, no, you're wrong. But the issue is those fact checkers have political bias to them, right? They were marking on people's posts during, the 2020 eras, right, about different health information that people are posting, right? And saying either it wasn't true or it was true. And the truth was they were wrong in a lot of cases, right? Versus community notes, they have some sort of judiciary almost that Elon has helped to promote. And it's been really good. What I like about community notes is that they include citations on there. Sometimes they include multiple. And you can vote on them as a community member. And it's not just these big, leftist organizations. It's just regular people who are providing those community notes. Not necessarily a huge, powerful organization, right? So I think that it's been very successful. And if Facebook, Instagram, so on, can replicate something similar, I think that would be great. So that's all I got about that. Just wanted to share that. People are following the free speech bandwagon, copying Elon Musk once again. I mean, Elon's a popular guy. What can I say? But here they are again, following his footsteps. All right. So rounding off the show here, AG Merrick Garland intends to replace special counsel report on Trump's January 6th case, DOJ says. So from Washington, this is from NBC News, Special Counsel Jack Smith has turned over to Attorney General Merrick Garland the complete final report of his 2 investigations that result in felony charges against President-elect Donald Trump, part of which Garland intends to make public as long as a federal appeals court vacates an injunction put in place by a Trump-appointed judge, the Justice Department said in a filing Wednesday. So Garland tends to give Congress only Volume 1, which focuses on Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election, quote, in furtherance of the public interest in informing a co-equal branch of the public regarding the significant matter. So I believe Volume 1 covers the whole election scandal, and then Volume 2 covers the classified documents thing. Release them. Let's see it. I am all in favor of giving the American people more information, even if that information isn't very nice to people who I like. Because the fact of the matter is, I don't agree with a lot of decisions that Trump made in the lead up to the 2020 election, or in and around that time, right? I'd love to hear more about it. And I would like to be able to read the report that my own government has been working to produce over these past couple years, and make my own opinions on it, understand it for myself, and see where people's values lie in relation to that. So I'll be interested to see what is in this report. I'm interested to see what's in Volume 2 of this report that covers the classified documents case. Hopefully that gets released at some point. But regardless, release information. Like I said, I'm pro releasing information to Americans. Don't keep us in the dark. That's what the government loves to do, is keep Americans in the dark on so many different matters. Tell us what's going on. Keep us informed of what's actually happening out there. And if this has any sort of substance to it, you better believe we'll read it on the show and we'll be critical of it, because that's what I do. Nobody gets a free pass in my book. I have my leanings, but I want to know the truth of the matter, right? And if this holds some semblance of truth to it, I'd like to know what it is, and I'd love to cover it. So we'll be sure to keep you informed on all of that, and give you more updates as it happens. But last story of the week. So this was brought to my attention earlier today that Pitt State in Pennsylvania has some questionable classes they're offering. One of which is entitled, quote, French Kiss, Love, Sex, and France. Sounds very suave. Sounds very European, right? It's France, it's Paris, it's the city of love, it's the city of romance, right? Until you read the description of this class, does it really start to lose all sense to it. So let me read you the description of this class, right? So this is University of Pittsburgh, right? Here's what this class description is. So, quote, from the class page, go and look at it for yourself if you don't believe me, but from the class page, right? From kissing to romantic escapades, from Paris to the Riviera, France and the Francophile world have a highly recognizable profile in matters of sex and love. Sexual behavior is always culturally infected, and it involves thorough time in its creation of emotions, attachments, families, and institutions. In this class, we will adopt a historical lens to retrace the cultural transformations of sex and love in the French culture and social landscape. We will study contemporary visual and textual materials, especially film, and a variety of historical documents from the Middle Ages to the present day. This is where I lost in this class. All right, listen to this part. All right. We will address controversial issues such as virginity, adultery, same-sex relationships, women's sexual agency, gender definitions through sexuality, the shifting boundaries of pornography, and other related materials. And you might say, well, maybe this is just a one-off class. Maybe there's only a few people taking this thing. I took it a little bit further, And it took down the webpage on me, but I dug a little bit further. And if we go to, let's see, catalog, I know it pulled it up for me earlier. Course information. Bear with me, folks. I had to pull up on the screen here a second ago, and it kicked me out. It doesn't want me seeing who's teaching their classes at this institution, right? Let's go to class search. It wants me to log in. It won't let me do it. Ridiculous. Oh, maybe we got it here. Let's see. French. French. All right, is there a search button here? Filter. I know what the course number was. Let's see. Here it is. Click here for class schedule information. So go and let me see it. Course catalog. France. We're doing some live investigating right here on the show, folks. Here's French. View courses. Let's go and let me see it. All right. So as I was saying, you might think only a few people are really interested in this class. But they have, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They have 10 sections of this class. French kiss, love, sex, France, and pornography, right? 10 sections of the class. So anytime you want to take this, you can do it. And there's a lot of people signed up for these classes too. Kind of wild, right? So I saw that and I couldn't believe that a university would offer a class with a description such as that. It doesn't surprise me, but it's also kind of astonishing, right? My favorite part, like I said, is the controversial issues such as virginity. What's so controversial about virginity, right? Adultery. Putting virginity and adultery and saying that they are controversial issues in the same sentence, that's wild, right? Was I silent or was I silenced after I read that line? I was silenced after I saw that right there. So another controversial issue, same-sex relationships, which is 2025. I don't think that that's a controversial issue anymore. Maybe back in the 90s. Women's sexual agency. What does that even mean? Women's sexual agency. And how is that a controversial issue, right? Gender definitions through sexuality. Once again, what does that even mean? And the shifting boundaries of pornography and other related materials. What's the shifting boundaries of pornography? What does any of this mean, right? So I guarantee you, if we did a survey after students before taking this class and after taking this class, they would come out of this class no less than 5 IQ points dumber, if not more, right? That might even be small. So I feel like, I lost brain cells just from reading this class description. I can't imagine sitting in it for 16 weeks, right? Let alone having to do all the coursework for it. My God. So that's all I got for you all today. Please join us back here on Monday for another amazing show of Spin Cycle Live. You know who I am. I am Nathan Hale. Follow me on X, on Instagram, on YouTube at Homonetian. Give me a subscribe on YouTube. Give this video a like if you're on YouTube. Share this with friends, right? Let people know how amazing our news coverage is here on Spin Cycle, right? Let everyone know, scream from the rooftops the praises of this amazing show, right? Don't actually do that. But if you did, I wouldn't stop you. But don't hurt anyone. Don't do anything illegal. But also, tell people how great the show is, right? We'll be back here Monday with more amazing shows. Please enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the rest of your week. I know that I will. I will continue to be snowed in this humble abode that I call my home. But I hope you're not stoned, and I hope that you can go out and enjoy your days, and maybe you have some warm weather wherever you live, and I hope that you're enjoying it. Please enjoy the warm weather for me. I'm thinking of you. I'm thinking of the heat right now. I'm thinking of not looking out my window, being blinded by the snow. But that is all that I have today. Enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you for spending the past half an hour with me. I know that it's not much, but we call it home here on Spin Cycle Live, right? And I love you all so much. And I hope you all continue to watch and continue to enjoy watching the show. But with that, that is the end of today's episode. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please, if you have questions, comments, anything for the show, go ahead and DM me on Twitter, on X. Let me know how I'm doing. Send me a story if it's interesting. It might show up on the show or not. We'll see. But this whole Pitt State University was a story that was sent to me, so we'll be sure to cover all of those amazing stories. But with that, I hope you have a great rest of your day, great weekend. I have been Nathan Hale. This has been Spin Cycle Live. Have a good one. Peace out.